This war wasn't fought only in trenches. It wasn't decided by bayonets, barbed wire, or artillery alone. World War I was also a financial war. A war fought in gold vaults, bond markets, central banks, and quiet offices far away from the battlefield, by people who never set foot in the trenches. Soldiers paid with blood, bankers, and governments calculated balance sheets. And the decisions made during those years didn't just decide who won and who lost. They reshaped the global financial system in ways that still trap you today. If you think war is only about politics and armies, think again. World War I proved something far more unsettling. Money is a weapon, and it may be one of the most deadly weapons ever created. In 1914, Europe was already a powder keg. National rivalries, colonial ambitions, and military alliances had turned the continent into a paranoid chessboard. But beneath all the talk of honor, empire, and flags, there was a simple financial truth. A war on this scale was impossible without unimaginable amounts of money. And here's the brutal reality. The moment leaders chose war, they also chose debt. Every empire that sent soldiers to the front was also sending its population into economic burden. They just didn't say it out loud. At the beginning, most governments believed the war would be short. Over by Christmas, they said. They thought they could pay for it the old way, with gold, limited borrowing, and patriotic donations. That illusion collapsed within weeks. The war was burning money faster than anyone had imagined. In the summer of 1914, Europe's financial system still revolved around the gold standard. Nations promised that their paper money could be exchanged for real gold. That promise created trust, but it also tied governments' hands. Gold was finite. You couldn't just print endlessly without consequences. Britain, France, and Germany all had respectable reserves. But once millions of men were mobilized and entire industries were redirected toward weapons, costs exploded. By late 1914, Germany was spending over 10 million marks every single day. Britain's daily war costs soon reached several million pounds. The math was merciless. The gold would not last, so government suspended the rules. Quietly. One by one, they abandoned the gold standard. In doing so, they were effectively telling their citizens, money is no longer backed by gold, only by faith in the state. That moment was one of the most important financial turning points in modern history. Because money was no longer anchored to metal, it was now a promise. And once governments tasted that freedom, they never went back. The real financial war had begun. Germany, cut off from global markets and blockaded at sea, had no choice. It turned inward. Massive war bond campaigns were launched. Propaganda was everywhere. Citizens were urged to sacrifice, to invest their savings for the fatherland. With promises of repayment after victory, millions believed it. But the system was built on hope. When defeat came, those bonds became worthless. Life savings were wiped out. And that bitterness would poison German society for decades to come. Britain had a crucial advantage. London was the financial center of the world. Sterling was trusted. Its networks were global. And most importantly, Britain could reach the United States. America was officially neutral in 1914, but its bankers saw opportunity. Firms like J.P. Morgan and Company became financial lifelines for Britain and France, arranging massive loans and managing the flow of weapons, food, and raw materials across the Atlantic. This wasn't charity. This was power. By the time the United States officially entered the war, Wall Street had already been financing the Allied cause for years. America entered the war as a debtor nation and emerged as the world's greatest creditor. If you've ever wondered how the 20th century became the American century, this is where it begins. Not on the battlefield, but in the ledgers. France survived on debt. Russia collapsed under financial chaos. Inflation and monetary failure helped fuel revolution. And when the war ended, the world was left with more than ruins. It was buried under mountains of debt. The gold standard was shattered. Inflation tore through economies. In Germany, people needed wheelbarrows of cash just to buy bread. And once again, ordinary people paid the price. Savers, workers, small investors. The elites often protected themselves by moving assets, buying real goods, staying close to power where information arrived first. Because in a financial war, the small saver always bleeds first. And this is where it connects to you. The playbook written in 1914 never disappeared. It only changed its language. Temporary inflation, necessary borrowing, sound fundamentals. They've all been said before. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it rhymes, and every time the same people pay the cost. So remember this. Never assume money is real just because it's printed. Never assume the system is stable just because authorities say it is. The truth is always hidden in the balance sheets, and history is the only teacher that never lies. If this unsettled you, remember why. History already wrote the answers. I'll show you where the truth is kept.